yo, what do you mean you're sorry? And then I feel a pressure in my stomach, and I know this feeling all too well. Welcome to the Hawks Lounge, a podcast dedicated to storytelling, learning, and uplifting content creators. I am your host, Hawk, and today I will share a story about a bad experience I had and what I learned from it. So before we get into the story, I just wanted to recap some of the things that we covered in the previous episode. The three main points that the last episode had that was introducing this theme of learning from bad experiences is number 1, learn from the situation. Number 2, lose any animosity or negative feelings towards the situation. And number 3, move on because better days are ahead. Without further ado, let's begin with the story. The story of this episode will be a recount of a bad experience. It all starts with blue clear skies on an early Saturday morning. I woke up early on this Saturday morning because I was going to a fishing trip with members from my church, and the fishing place was located in Port Aransas, Texas. I'm in San Antonio, and Port Aransas is about a 2-hour drive from San Antonio, but the church had scheduled it extremely early, maybe around like 8 o'clock in the morning, 8, 9-ish. So in order to get there on time, you have to leave around 5:45, maybe 6 o'clock in the morning just to get there. And, there is some leeway waiting for everybody to show up. It's about 5 in the morning and I wake up. I get dressed. I don't think anything about eating. So by the time I leave to go to Port Aransas, I don't realize how long of a trip it is and how I didn't have anything to eat. So by the time we got to Port Aransas, I was starving. I was hungry. I needed sustenance. The first thing that I ate was the ham and cheese Lunchable with the Nerds candy next to it. And I washed all that down with an orange Fanta. And by the time I finished, everybody had arrived and we were preparing to hop on the boat. So everybody boards the boat, we set sail, and we stop somewhere in the Gulf of Mexico after traveling for maybe 30 minutes or so. Once when we stopped, the overseer of the fishing event had came out and briefed us on a couple of rules of the boat. And it was just some of the standard stuff like don't lean or hang off the edge, don't do anything dangerous, don't do anything that might put other people in danger. And the last but not the least, if you need to puke, there was a bag for it. Under no circumstances should you puke overboard or puke in the toilet. And he showed everybody where the bag is, what the bag looked like, where to find the bag. And I sat there. I was just like, I don't really care, right? I don't intend on puking. I'm just here to learn how to fish since it's my first time. After he finishes the debriefing, he lets everybody start fishing. Everything's cool for maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and then the boat starts rocking back and forth because of the waves. For maybe 5 minutes, my stomach is getting upset, and it's telling me, bro, we gotta stop. And me at the time, I'm just like, I hear you, but I don't really want to. So I just force myself to keep pushing forward. I push away all the nausea that I'm feeling. the headache that's developing, I push all that away because I just came here to fish and learn how to do it. So for the next 15 minutes, the boat keeps dipping left, right, left, right. And it's not an issue, right? My stomach is still feeling kind of funny, but I'm cool with it. It's not that bad until minute 16 when the boat dipped a little too hard and too deep on the right. That's when it was the last straw for my stomach, and it kept telling me, "Hey yo, bro, we gotta quit. I'm about to throw up." I realized that I don't want to throw up. Throwing up is on my top 3 list of worst feelings, but I didn't think it was that bad. I was like, oh, you're just overreacting. Calm down, bro. You get a little tipsy because of the boat rocking. Come on now. I decided, in order to subdue, the nausea that I was feeling, I told one of the people there, I'm feeling kind of sick. Do you have anything? So they hand me a little packet and they're like, here, take this, drink some water, and you should be fine. So I do exactly that. I take the motion sickness pill. I open it up. I pop it in my mouth. I grab a water bottle. I remove the cap from the water bottle and I go to drink it. Right when that first drop of water hits my tongue, that's when my stomach says, I'm sorry. And at the time I was like, yo, what do you mean you're sorry? And then I feel a pressure in my stomach, and I know this feeling all too well. I said, crap, I gotta find that bag, bro. So I go looking around, and with each passing second, I can feel the pressure rising in my stomach to the point where I couldn't contain it anymore. I was like, scrap the bag, I gotta go straight to the bathroom. I walk into the bathroom, and that's when everything comes rushing out. I'm talking every fluid imaginable. Stomach acid, tears, snot, my intestines rushing out of my stomach, all into the toilet. The Lunchables, the orange Fanta that I washed it down with, everything that was in my body left my body. All right there into the toilet. And I felt bad because it felt like a crime. And instantly, right when I was done, I looked at the cocktail that I had produced and I threw up again. I get everything out of my system and I just sit in the bathroom thinking, what am I going to do now? So the idea that came to my mind was I have to flush the toilet. I can't let somebody else walk in here who genuinely needs to use the bathroom witness this crime scene before me. So I go to flush the toilet and it doesn't flush everything. I'm like, crap, it can't be stopped up right now. All of it needs to go. I have to hide the evidence. So I flush it again. Thankfully, it's clear now. And I leave the bathroom. I walk onto the deck and I find a seat and I lay down. And a minute later, I'm knocked out. Maybe 30 minutes or so pass by. I wake up and I feel terrible. And to speed run to the end of the fishing trip, we didn't catch any fish. I threw up twice. My stomach hurts. And I walked away from that fishing trip thinking that fishing is such a terrible idea. I'll never do it again. All it ever does is make you throw up. So I told myself I would never go fishing again. But using what we learned from the last episode, I was able to break down everything that happened, more or less. So the main issue, it wasn't fishing. It was me, right? I didn't eat anything until a couple minutes before actually boarding onto the boat. The food hadn't digested, and the constant tipping back and forth didn't really help all that undigested food. So the main reason why it was such a bad experience was because I didn't prepare for it well. So since then, I have gone fishing, not on a boat, but on land. So from that bad experience, I learned quite a few things. One, I just shouldn't go fishing on a boat. I'm more of a land type of fisher. Number two, eat before you travel somewhere that's 2 hours away. It helps, especially if you're going to go on a boat after. And the third thing, fishing's actually not that bad. That first experience was an experience nonetheless. But, a little throw up never killed anybody. Yeah, it makes you feel terrible, but shoot, I came out on top eventually. And the last thing that I learned from this experience was to be prepared, or at least try to be prepared by either knowing what you're going to do before you do it, or just meeting your basic needs first, because that really helps a lot. But that was the time I went fishing for the first time and what I learned from it. If you found this episode entertaining, I highly recommend that you follow the Hawks Lounge podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast. Become a member of the flock by subscribing to the YouTube channel and turning on post notifications. And if you feel so inclined, join the Discord for a chance to share your stories. If you or somebody you know has a business or is a content creator, please feel free to fill out the corresponding forms below for a shout out at the end of an episode. With all that being said, I greatly appreciate you for taking the time out of your day to listen to today's story. Stay tuned for the next episode for another story about learning from a bad experience. Until then, thank you and have a great week.